directly overhead. You see that? Just notice how that's directly overhead? He's flying high too. So you can see him. Look at this. Here he is. You see this? And right as I'm coming home, you got this guy. See that? Right, so I can see it. I look like I've lost it. But I'm testing for demonic indwelling, okay? Because I'm thinking that the demon can't keep up. Okay, here we go. Ready? Alright, so with this one, this really freaky demon on my wrist comes out. And you can see it right there. Look at the nose of that thing sticking out of my wrist, guys. And this is really freaky and weird. By the way, I know a lot of people who don't know me might see this and ask if I've got like some sort of weird situation where I'm turning into a monster or doing weird stuff. As a result of this, I can tell you no, I'm actually a pretty normal person, but I've discovered that you can see demons with video in particular. I haven't been able to notice it with still photography, but I think it's the speed and the light and certain elements involved where you can see these life forms, which I believe are demons, but I will also be reasonable and say I do not know what it is exactly we are looking at. But what you can see here are what looks like changes in my flesh. These are not changes in my flesh. You see that big nose-like thing sticking out, and what looks like two eyes and a teeth full of mouthful of jaggy teeth. This is not an actual change. What's happening is apparently, well, I know it's not a physical change because I know I'm not a physical shapeshifter, and some people have said it's DNA, and I do think that there are shapeshifters with enough DNA to shapeshift. I think that's definitely possible, but in this case, I'm a pretty aware person, and I would know if I was shapeshifting, and I'm not coming up here and telling you a lie about something. I do not physically shapeshift, and I would have noticed it. But what you see here are what appears to be physical changes. See, that's not the way my wrist looks at all. I mean, look at those lumps. You can see my watch there below, and then you see these weird eyes, and there's even a face above that face, but you can see what looks like almost like a bird beak, and these two eyes, and this is just so weird. And also, I don't notice anything strange on my wrist. I mean, I don't notice it, itching or, some weird sign language or something all of a sudden. I mean, this is just plain weird. I mean, I also got demons on the back of my head and my hair, which you'll see. I do not know, how these things affect the way you're thinking or whatever, but what I can tell you is that I'm a fairly normal person. I don't all of a sudden start talking like some crazy person, like you see some people on the street, or whatever. They start talking to themselves or speaking weird languages or, waking up in the middle of the night with candles lit or something like that. I'm a pretty normal person. But You can see here this is definitely not normal, or at least it doesn't look normal, but according to demonologists, I don't know if that's a field, but the people who know about demons say that this everybody has demons. Almost every problem we have can be related back to demons, from psychological problems to diseases. So this is a common thing. But look at this, man. I mean, this is so weird. I'm looking right at this now as I'm making this recording, and it just blows my mind how weird this is. I mean, this is sci-fi on a grand level, but this is on me. I mean, I'm seeing the eyes. You see those jaggy teeth? You see that inside that mouth? You can see it. And I'm going to talk more about this later in a separate video where I'm going to do some more in-depth discussion about what all this means. But what I've realized about these life forms, because you can see it has a mouth, it has teeth, is that they don't make any sense from our physical standpoint. That's the thing that's important to realize. If we try to think of it from our physical logical terms, it's just not going to make sense, because you see misaligned eyes, you see these jaggy teeth, which if you think about a living being, it wouldn't be able to eat properly with teeth like that. It's like these big cone-shaped teeth. So the idea that these creatures do not make sense from a physical standpoint as we know a living being highly lends itself to the idea that we're looking at what the Bible calls demons. And these creatures can apparently pile into a human being by the thousands. And Chris Lasala mentions that they can come in at various times. Other deliverance ministers have said that a certain trauma can cause demons to come into you. Other demons can be generational curses, according to some people who are experts in this field. So there's a lot about this I don't understand, but I will say that, like here on my arm, you see what looks like reptilian scales. These are features of a living being, but what may be happening is that the spirit body, such as described in Susan Reed's book, The Body Snatchers, where she describes reptilians who leave their physical body to attach themselves to a human being. It may be that somehow the camera picks up on the reality of that being living inside the person, because otherwise, looking at this, I would have said I'm a reptilian. But look at that face, guys. Look at that face on my wrist. Can you see the eyes? You see the eyes there? And the nose? Of course, that looks nothing like my wrist. There's not that huge bulb sticking out and those weird shapes. What's happening is somehow what the camera sees distorts the flesh so that it's seeing and these faces. And these faces, if you look at these faces, they look evil. They look like they have this maniacal grin. Like right there, it looks like an evil dinosaur beak man. You see the eye on the right, and those scales and those bumps reaching up. Look at the way it looks. You can see the eye, and it's really confusing. We don't know, obviously why this is occurring. God knows, but we don't know what it is and why this looks like this. But look at you see how distinct those eyes are, and that nose. It's like there's a living being right there on my wrist. That's my left wrist. You can see with the watch there. And obviously you don't see this in person, but it comes out in a motion shot or limited, lesser light video shot, and then I can catch more of it by going through it frame by frame and actually refilming the LCD as it shows up, and you can see it there. As you know, I'm not creating these forms, and they're too specific. Those bumps are clearly bumps of some kind. They're not. It's not just a blur from camera shake or something else. That's not paranormal. This is paranormal, no question about it. This is definitely on the weird side, and it's freaky. But I think what we're seeing here finally is proof that we can get with video that demons are real and that they do occupy us and that they do have all these weird facts about them, such as when these demons were occupying this one man that was by the seashore, and Jesus comes and they cry out, saying, let us go into these pigs, and the man was called Legion because the demons were many inside of him, which means that whatever these living beings are, they are able to pile in by the thousands into a single person and occupy the same space. This doesn't make sense by our physical laws of understanding what a being can be. That's why the remaining explanation that we have right now is that they are spiritual beings of some kind that don't occupy physical space, obviously, in the way that we understand it. You see those jaggy little cone shapes right there? After looking at this long enough, I know somebody freshly looking at that's not going to recognize that as teeth, but I've been looking at this long enough now to realize that you do in fact have these teeth and eyes and these shapes that don't make any sense to us. You can see like this little blue area there where that eye is, and it doesn't make any sense, why there's an eye there, but you see also below an opening and shapes that are inside of it, and if you look at it carefully, it's an eye, and then there's a mouth, and there's teeth in the mouth. And again, it is this really freaky, maniacal grins to these beings, whatever they are. Look at this. This is another one on my other wrist, on my right wrist, and you can see. Sorry, I lost the focus a little there. You can see the eyes. You can see the mouth. Look at this grinning mouth. You see how it's big on one side, looks like a grinning man, but you can see these tiles on the lips. It looks reptilian, and you can see multiple eyes there. Which means that probably what's happening is somehow the camera is catching a result of these multiple creatures piled into the same area. I hope you're enjoying the background noise here a little bit. But look at this mouth here, and look at those eyes. I mean, you can see it. You can see something there, and you can see what look like reptilian bumps in a lot of cases, but you also see things that look like a lion, like a feline type creature with the nose and everything, and then you can see things that look like a saber-toothed tiger. Can you see that? Can you see the nostrils? Can you see the eye shapes? And you see the mouth. It looks like this grinning guy going, yeah, 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 yeah. But this is my wrist, okay? The person you're hearing narrating this doesn't have wrists that look like that. I can tell you right now. I don't have wrists that look like that. What's happening is that you're seeing a demon, apparently. And again, I don't know what it is, but it's weird and freaky. And here I was kind of testing to see if I've got the claws, because you see I've got the reptilian scales all throughout my body, almost as if my whole being is inundated with reptilian character and or what we have been thinking of as a reptilian shapeshifter. And by the way, I just want to make clear again that I do not discount that there might be physical shapeshifters. In fact, I personally think that there are. But a lot of the evidence that I have shown now that I have done this on myself, shows that you can see physical beast characters such as reptilian that are not physical changes. What's happening is there is a what I would call demonic distortion, the result of an indwelling demonic being having a effect on what the camera sees. And I mean, you can see it. You can see the patterns of the reptilian scales. You see that under my chin, those shapes, those elongated shapes, and they're discolored as well. I turned down the color on this. It helps to see everything. But there's also, see that eye? And then underneath that, there's what looks like a mouth with teeth and these weird textures everywhere. And it kind of doesn't help to say that they're not reptilians when those scales things are green like a lizard. It just kind of looks like that. The rest of my skin kind of has this pinkish or purple color as you see it there. But those scales are more often than not, than I've seen them also on other people and actors and so forth, are green or tend to be green. And that, I don't know obviously what for sure that might be. That could be a result of something else. But the demons or demon presence, there's smaller demons and then there's bigger ones, and you see beast characteristics. Oh yeah, and here, look at these faces. This is a reflection in this mirror behind me, and as I was scanning this footage, you can see what looks like faces, and that is just facing another wall. That mirror is just showing another part of the RV wall, and you also get and these faces in my hair, as I pointed out on Sigourney Weaver from Aliens when I first really noticed this. Also from the child actress there, she had these massive and even discolored what you call demons with these big mouths, these big teeth, and the spiked teeth were actually white. And here I don't get any of that discoloration, or I get a little bit of it in some of the eyes, but not to that degree. But you see that eye? Can you see that eye right there? You can see there's a slight bluish hue to it. It's probably hard to see, but I can see there's like a slight bluish hue to it, and you can see the shape of a iris and the pupil, and then you see the mouth below. You see that little mouth, and you see the teeth inside of it, and it's just wild. But what's happening is this: my hair isn't forming these demons. What's obviously happening is that, and I don't want to sound like I know everything that's going on, but when I say obvious, but it's not that the hair is suddenly taking that shape. What's happening is that what the camera is seeing is is somehow imprinted on the image that would otherwise reach the camera. I think that's probably a fairly decent way to say it. And so you can see there, you see the tiles, those bumps on that lower lip of the mouth. I know this is really weird. If you're seeing this for the first time, or you haven't studied this for long, it just looks like crazy talk. It's just a bunch of blurs on the back of someone's head. But if you look carefully and you look at this and you just keep your mind open, you can see it. I mean, I can see it, and it's not just like I'm imagining it, oh, that's just a little dark shape, and, it's easy to see faces and stuff. But I mean, you can see aligned forms that make no sense, including discoloration, as you study the visual effects. So the concept of demons really makes sense, and I know that there's some people, obviously a lot of people, who don't want to use the word demons, because if you use the word demons, then it gets back to the Bible, and they don't want to believe in the Bible because the Bible is, in their opinion, a reptilian tool to keep people enslaved. And I had somebody say that to me recently, and I messaged them separately, and at least did my best to try to tell them that that's what I used to think. I didn't used to think that it was a reptilian deception. I just thought it was a man-made deception for the first whole half of my life, until God showed it to me. And for those of you watching who they want to see the non-humans, they want to see the demonic exposure, not demonic exposure, they want to see the aliens, they don't want to think of them as demons. I would just say to you, including Miles Johnston and Harold Kutzvala and other people, Carrie Cassidy, who don't want to see or look at anything from the biblical narrative because they feel it's a deception. I would only say to you, my fellow human beings, to please keep your mind open to all possibilities until we know everything for sure. Because my mind is open to the possibility we're talking about just aliens, even though that's obviously not what I think, but or non-humans of whatever sort. But this thing with the demon forms and their appearance, the way they look, those maniacal grins and the misshapen, the misaligned eyes and the giant teeth that don't make sense from a physical standpoint, I really think lends itself to a spiritual explanation. Look at this face, guys, behind me. You can see on the wall of the RV, you see what looks like this evil cartoon character with this. You see the eye there with it's like a straight line, almost like a drawing of a character, and then underneath you see the spiked teeth. Can you see that? You see those spikes hanging down there? Look at that. This makes no sense at all. Why you're seeing this or what we're actually looking at, but you can see it. You can this is not a feature of my RV, guys. I know that corner of my RV very well, and there's not those shapes there normally. What's happening is the camera is picking up something, whatever it might be there. And so that means that these so-called demonic forms with these teeth and the eyes and everything are not just on the body, they're swirling around the person. And by the way, I've had plenty of experience of this. If you watch the other movies at my channel, looking at this at actors and so forth, you start seeing these patterned forms, these demonic forms, not just on the bodies and faces of these people, but on the walls and stuff behind them, and in all around the place. You start seeing, even all in the air, you start seeing these eyes and everything. And by the way, I just want to mention one thing. I'm going to do a report on how all these various companies and people and everything are very panicked about you taking photographs or video in their place, like Westfield Mall Management. They can film you, but you can't film them, and a swarm of security guards will come and tell you to put your video camera away. I wonder if it's because the higher-ups, whom are all connected to these demons, whether they're in body or they're physical reptilians or whatever, physical beasts, demons, devils, whatever, Satan's kingdoms, beasts, they know about this. They know that these forms can show up in video, and that's what I'm thinking is why they don't want you to film. They can film you with all their cameras posted everywhere. When you go into a Westfield mall, there's cameras all over the place filming you everywhere you go. But if you take your camera out, if it's not a phone or something, that's be a good way to do it if you have a phone, because they're really not going to probably say anything. But I'll tell you, I usually have either a digital camera, like a picture taker, or a dedicated flip video camera with me, and boy, they go ballistic. If and not doing something like harassing somebody, even just having it in your hand or having it on. And it's really weird. I had one security guard follow me in a truck all throughout the area, even after I put the camera away. He was just had this total suspicious, evil kind of air about him. And I think the revelation of these demons and the shapeshifters, the physical shapeshifters, I think are why they don't want people to see. I mean, that's a possibility. I'm saying it's a possibility of why. I mean, this is so abstract and weird. I mean, I don't know what's going on, but when I thought about why they're so. I mean, if you're proud of your place, if you're if you're not doing anything wrong, what are your objections to people taking pictures or video? But this thing on the wall behind me was really weird. That's why I spent a little bit more time on it. As you can see, I mean, look at that. It looks like you can see fangs. You can see this weird nose or like a beak-like shape. You see that? You see the eye and the nose. I think here, this one is going to be some fangs, or what look like fangs when they come out. Guys, I know that humans have canines, but I know myself, and I know that when I smile, it doesn't normally look like that. But you know, if somebody kind of gives me a distrustful look or has a distrustful feeling, it may be that they somehow their inner spiritual eye sees that and sees that beast feature, and it freaks them out. As this is another aspect of this I wanted to talk about, which is that I think that some people throughout time have seen this on people, and it's like a physical trait that reveals itself somehow in a moment. Like you see somebody, and like for a second you see what looked like a monster, and it's because that feature somehow appears. So it's similar as to what I was saying about the vampires. You know, somebody may have seen somebody's reflection in a mirror, and I think mirrors reveal these creatures. See, right now you're looking at a mirror, and I think it has something to do with the way the light photons are conveyed through a non-direct form that reveals demonic presence. And you know, it could be that a lot of where the vampire legend comes from, or the werewolf legend comes from, is or some of it anyway, because I do think that I do believe in these physical beasts, and it's somewhat disappointing to think of them as demons, because then it becomes intangible, whereas a lizard man or a werewolf is a tangible being that we might confront, especially if we feel very dissatisfied with our world government that's lying to us about space being filled with sentient life, for instance, or withholding free energy, free non-polluting energy. And if we're getting killed by everything from chemtrails to poison in our food, GMO food, and cures for cancer which actually kill us, and the real cures being withheld from us, and our taxes paying for bases on Mars, and we have no idea about it. So you know, when there's a lot of that dissatisfaction, then we are naturally skeptical of everything that they're telling us. And then when we start to discover some of this stuff, like UFOs, UFO video, and or this shape-shifting exposure, we jump at it, because for those of us who've been searching for the truth fearlessly and long enough, you begin to realize that, you know, they're not going to tell us anything. The powers that be, the news media, our schools, the medical system, everything, they're not telling us what's happening. We're being lied to on a grand scale, and I think for sin, we're all being duped by it. I honestly believe that if you are truly morally upright, you will not go along with the thievery. You will not go along with the making of lies. You will not go along with the veiled slavery and murders of your fellow human beings. If your heart stops you from doing that, it'll open up your mind, and God will show you what's really going on. And for that, friends, I tell you again, don't think I'm brainwashed here. The Holy Scripture, the Bible, is true. It's not a reptilian deception, guys. I've been looking at the Bible carefully now for 25 years, and I'm very sure, and I've calculated that also it cannot be any words of man. And I would say keep your mind open to the information that's in it. Don't think it's a reptilian deception. You know, in my opinion, the lie that they're telling about the Bible is even bigger and more important for them to keep than this lie about demonic indwelling, which they're not telling you about. Look, this has been right in our face all this time. I mean, I could have done this video test on myself 20 years ago and seen this. So this is important to get up on YouTube and to show people that they can do this. You can take a video camera, shoot in low light, distance, motion shots, and you can start to see this stuff. coming out. Look at this fang, guys. You probably think I'm a evil person, and you're right. I am an evil person. That's one thing I wanted to say, is that I have realized, I knew that, the scripture says, by the way, just how important understanding God's word is in the Bible, the Authorized King James Bible. The scripture says that we are, all of us, evil. There's only one that's good. That's God. And Jesus says, if you, being evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more does God know how to give good gifts to you, should you ask him? And that's when you ask God, it's in prayer. You say a prayer to God. But I wanted to say that I acknowledge that these forms that you're seeing, I kind of feel like the beast that you're seeing here. Look at this fang. I think that the demons that are indwelling us give us a lot of who and what we are. So when you see this person, Richard Bruce, on YouTube, and don't get the wrong impression. I was just telling somebody, if you think I'm a holy man, you kind of got the wrong impression. I'm refraining from being the full person that I am, because it's not proper, especially if I'm talking about the gospel and I'm coming up here and making a public appearance. But the fact is, you see these demonic forms on me? It's perfect, right as I'm talking about this. You see that face you see the mouth underneath with the teeth in it, and you see that somehow that comes out in this stretching of this fang of my tooth, of my canine. This is part of my character. I wonder if that's part of why I have a really bad temper. My dad had a really bad temper too, and it's like a generational curse. I'm not a criminal, but if somebody really pisses me off, I'm somebody who will explode. In yelling. I don't have a problem with breaking the law, but I think a lot of people don't have that problem, and I wonder if it's because of demonic indwelling, which makes up part of our character, and if this demonic being, whatever comprises it, was not in my body, if I would have the same character, the same problem with that anger, frankly, or with that explosive emotion. But on the other hand, it also gives me, I wonder if it gives me passion about things. I'm also very passionate about things. I feel really strongly about things, as some of you guys might have noticed from my channel. I'm not somebody just, yeah, it's there, it is what it is, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm like, yeah, this is how I feel about it, I'm kind of emotional, and I think that it's certainly possible, now that we can see that there are beings living in us, that if they contribute quite a bit to who and what we are. Another way, as you're looking at this, to see, for instance, if the fangs are really what I'm saying they are, and it's not just, part of who I am, or just a camera blur, is the fact that they change from frame to frame. And you can see a specific shape there. You see that cone shape in there, in my mouth? You see that? You see it there, especially in that shot right there, that one frame? You see those cone shapes, those triangle shapes. My teeth do not normally look like this. It's somehow the camera is picking up on this aspect of my character. This is fascinating. If your psychologist doesn't know about this, I don't know if he's really getting it. That's what I would say. Look at those bumps on the side of my face there, on the left side of my face. You see that? You see it looks like reptilian tiles or bumps. I'm just guessing here, but it's like there's a lizard man spirit living in me, and what's happening is somehow the video camera in certain conditions is picking up on it. Somehow it can see features of that indwelling spiritual being, which is somehow part of me, somehow part of even the personality of the person that you're hearing speaking. And this is real. I mean, this is the truth. And I think that if most of you, any of you who are bold in searching for the truth, and by the way, this is another thing about faith, guys. I mean, it's really important. There's, in that one movie with Mel Gibson, he was talking about there's two kinds of people: the kind of people that have faith that there's a God and that there's justice. Ultimately, it's not in this world; it's after this life. And people who don't, and people who do have enough courage to really look at this straight in the face. That's why I can publish this, guys. As many people have pointed out, I mean, this is not flattering. It's embarrassing, and there was a big uproar about it I had recently with somebody. But it highlights the point that this is embarrassing. This doesn't make me look good. Okay, if people are looking at this, they might minus a understanding, completely not want to hear a single thing that I had to say, especially about the Holy Bible. I mean, look at this guy. He's got spikes coming out of his face. He looks like a dog in one frame. He looks like a cat in the other frame. Looks like a lizard man in some other frame. And he's got these little demonic faces coming out all over him. But you know what? I think that this is happening to everybody. Derek Prince has a movie called The Enemies We Face. I recommend checking it out. Derek Prince on YouTube. The Enemies We Face. And that title lends itself to the understanding that we're facing these enemies that are coming against us, and the biggest safety for an enemy is when they're hidden. We don't know they exist, and if they're keeping society such that we can't even believe that they exist, then we know that we've got a problem, that we've got to be bold in putting this out there. That's why I'm putting this out there. We're being afflicted by these creatures, people. Look at this bird beak thing behind me. You see that? You see the grin it has? I kind of put the contrast on there. See that grin? You see that? And you see the eye? And you see the nose looks like this, like a beak. You see that? And this is not even on me. This is on the wall. And I noticed it on the wall and on the roof. That means that these creatures are swirling around us at all times, just like Chris LaSala said. It's like a National Geographic where you see ants are so thick over an ant mound that you can't even see the dirt. He says that's what it's like. He says all kinds of filthy serpents and spiders and all kinds of these weird creatures like that. I mean, if you're trying to solve your medical problem, if you're trying to protect your kids, if you want to know why you're having, strange feelings or problems, but we don't know about this, and now we can see it on video, I think we're missing the boat here. Now we've got something. We can see this. There is evidence. And what they're going to try to do, of course, in the established scientific community, especially the medical community, is just dismiss this as film grain. But that's why it's important to post it on YouTube so you can see it. This is what I'm talking about. People can yak and yak and yak. I'm not dissing David Icke's work, but he's not showing the reptilians. He's talking about them, and he's doing a lot of good work to do that. But in the end, talk is talk, and text is text. We want to see it. Seeing it I think is going to really change minds, because people are tired of the bull. They're tired of people can say anything. People can quote anything from some book, from somewhere, ancient text, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. Video is a lot harder to fake. Look at that face on me. It's disgusting. Just so you know, I'm not happy about this. I would like to get rid of these things. In fact, I just emailed Chris LaSala. I don't know if he'll answer me because he didn't seem too impressed with my work. But and by the way, I don't mean to speak against him. I just, I know a lot of people don't find this credible, and that's the point I'm trying to address. Is that, this is visual evidence, guys. Don't be fooled. These shapes and these forms cannot show up just from random filigrane. You see those fangs? You see those cones like that? And you see the eye? And if you look at it, you play it frame by frame, you can see other faces and forms showing up. And I realize it does take some time of looking at this before you start to even be able to believe it. I like to tell people, it took me 2 full months from the first time that I saw shapeshifting on YouTube to even begin to believe that something like this could be going on. But it is, and as you get used to the idea, you can see it more. Can you see the teeth in that mouth? Can you see the eye? You can see the expression of it, like this maniacal grin. It's the trademark of demons. Look at that face. You see the eye? Can you see the eye there? That discoloration? If not, you can scroll back in YouTube, freeze it on that frame, or just download the movie. That's the best thing. I download all good evidence of things that I find relevant, especially like UFO stuff. But I mean, this is important information, because this whole demon thing is I think relevant to the whole picture. The God, aliens, you name it. It's the whole picture is not complete unless we understand that the enemies we face, such as that movie by Derek Prince, Deliverance pastor, the late Derek Prince, Deliverance pastor, or minister rather, and I think that this inner battle is why the scripture says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against evil and principalities, that is, the demons or devils in charge of these various cities and so forth, that are in charge of these powers, and also the demons that are in people. I have experienced people, it seems to me like they are coming against me because of something they have inside of them, something that is moving them inwardly to do things. And also, I believe that I myself have had thoughts and feelings that are not my own, that are in fact demonic influence, these beings that are apparently living inside of us. And they can put thoughts in your head, they can do all kinds of things and cause all kinds of problems, but we don't know how it works, so it's all very arcane, it's all very mysterious. But one thing that I like about the video, look at that dinosaur face. One thing I like about the video is that now you can see it. Demons are such an abstract notion. It's like, okay, demons, all right, yeah, I believe in the scripture, but it's too intangible. See, if you look there in my mouth, you can see. You see that? Those large shapes? It's like my character is coming out physically like the indwelling demon or demons. You see that? Those big cone-shaped teeth? See, if I didn't know I wasn't a physical shapeshifter, I'd say that guy's a shapeshifter or a reptilian. So it's very confusing, because that's the problem. You can't. A lot of people, I think, are going to say it's one or the other. It's either you have physical shapeshifters and it's not demons, or there's demons and that's all we're seeing. Especially because this shows that non-physical beings can manifest physically, or manifest in what looks like physical features, but in fact it is only demonic distortion. Somehow what the camera sees is distorted by an indwelling spiritual being or beings. This figure in the back of my head this time is particularly striking. It has like this Skeletor kind of look. You see the nostril? You see the nostrils? And the eye shapes with the little lines coming down from the eye. Looks like the predator. See how the nostrils almost look kind of ape-like, but there's little tiles there. And then the the swirls above the eyes. And my hair isn't really taking these shapes. It's again, it's demonic distortion. Somehow the hair provides a means by which the photons coming from that hitting the camera somehow reveal the presence of these creatures, however they live. It's beyond weird. That's another problem with this. It's so weird that it's really hard to wrap your head around. But we've got to do that, because we're not understanding everything that's happening to us. Our doctors aren't able to tell us why we're having problems. Our psychologists are not able to tell us why we're having these intractable problems. And until I think we believe in these indwelling hostile spirits that are bent on our destruction, as I said in my last video, and if you research this, you'll find that in every case, their whole mission is to ruin the person from within and get them to continue on in sin and things that destroy their own soul. They can't force you to do anything, but they can influence you. You ultimately make the decision. I still believe that. I think in some cases maybe they take over, but in your whole life track, it's basically you are making a decision. I can say for myself, I decide to get rid of these beings just as soon as I possibly can. And I would say that the purpose of me knowing it is that, and seeing it, is that I can now really make a decision that I'm not going to put up with this. I'm going to continue to talk to God, and I'm going to continue to live my life as holy as I can to make it into heaven, because this is something that we don't want. I mean, what's happening, I think, if you just let your life ride normally, is that these creatures living within us will influence you, and you think it's just having fun and just hanging out and trying to enjoy life the best you can. But I think that's the surprise when you cross over, is that it wasn't that. It was sin.